Bulletcast for life.
Doggy Charles. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. The microphone messiah. Yeah. It's the microphone messiah. And Mr. No Days Off. Microphone messiah. Mr. No Days Off. Phil, Brandon, what's good, y'all? Let's go. Bullet Cast host. Look, this is the time for us to be great on podcasts. Let you know this is the time and how the vibe lasts. This is the feeling of time and when we on it. You know we got no time for no opponent, just the feeling. This is the time of the greats on everything that we say.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, the microphone messiah, Phillip. I am joined by Brandon Tanguma, Mr. No Days Off, and of course Marlee. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Recovering from the peach cobbler.
Yes, we are going to talk about the peach cobbler, but first we have to talk about some very sad news. Sika Anoa'i, one half of the Wild Samoans tag team, and of course the father of Roman Reigns, has passed away at the age of 79. We talked about it at training on Tuesday. Parisi, obviously a member of this amazing family and dynasty, was just talking about it, and I know Alpha Senior was very ill and very sick, so this one kind of came out of nowhere. Before I kind of get into it, I'll read the statement that Roman Reigns he posted. He tweeted out. There it is. My family and I thank everyone for the outpouring of support in the name of my father, Leti Sika Anoa'i, who will forever be remembered as one half of the Wild Samoans tag team. My father had a profound impact on my entire family, and we are forever grateful for the foundation he built for us. There's no way to fill the void left by his passing, but my sisters and I will do the best to represent him and his legacy. Rest in power, Dad. We love you. Yes. Sika and Alpha, their style of training, what they adapted to, what they learned on the road, they built that style of training, and look at it. Look at what it's done. Tonga Kid, Yokozuna, Umaga, Rosie, Rikishi, Samu, Black Pearl, and then it goes down to Roman and the Usos and Solo and Lance Anoa'i and Journey and Parisi and obviously Jake and what he just did, and the stuff that they've taught Juicy, and then it trickles down to what we're being taught down at Oasis. This is over 50 years worth of knowledge that's been passed down from generation to generation. The stuff that they teach down at Knox Pro and the stuff that Alpha Jr. was teaching at his school on the East Coast and the stuff that we're learning at Oasis. It's a never-ending pot of knowledge. It truly is. Sika had a saying that they would tell me to say, "Let the steel straighten you out." And then, of course, they had those fame drills like the Samoan bump drill, but you got to chop your feet when they yell bump, bump, and get back up and get right back to it. A true trailblazer in a Spartan of our sport and a titan of our industry, Mr. Anoa'i, thank you. Thank you for crafting this style of training, because it's been passed down to me, and we're benefiting from it, and just a generation far removed from the days of when they were on the road is benefiting from this knowledge and these teachings, and I'm forever grateful. Thank you, sir. Do you guys have any thoughts about the passing of Sika Anoa'i, Marlee?
Besides it being very sad, I would say it's nice to see that he got to witness Roman have his moments, like his big moments in his later years of life, especially, I believe it was Hell in a Cell, where he pretty much gifted Roman with the traditional, I'm not sure what it's called. I don't want to mess it up.
The lei, the ulafala.
The lei, yes. Yes, I thought that was a very heartwarming moment, but just losing a parent is terrible overall. But I'm unfortunately not too familiar with Sika, but thoughts and prayers are with the family.
Brandon.
Yeah, really sad, kind of came a little bit out of nowhere, even though, he did live to 79. So pretty lengthy life. But often Sika Wild Samoans, their gimmick was definitely a trope of their time, being the wild savages, but there was a lot of stereotypical heels out there during that era, and you know, they wrestled for quite a long time, through the late 70s and through the 80s, and they had a very successful run. And like you said, Philip, he not only in-ring wise was very successful, but I think maybe his training and obviously the family that he has is probably the legacy that he leaves behind, the biggest impact into the business.
Absolutely. I remember when I used to live in Pensacola, I'd go to the dentist and there'd be a picture of Offense Sika in the dentist office. Obviously, they have ties down there in Pensacola, so um, yeah, I think that's how I first got privy to the Wild Samoans. I was like 14 or 15 years old. I saw that. I asked the dentist like, "Who are they?" And then YouTube, and you go and you discover stuff, and that's probably kind of I think how I kind of got my love for like that older style of wrestling. Yeah, it's very sad. R.I.P. to Sika Anoa'i, and I'm just glad he got to see Roman have that run.
Yeah.
That's awesome to know that he got to witness that.
Do you think they're gonna incorporate this at all in SmackDown? Like maybe they'll do a pass. I mean, I'm talking about like in the Bloodline story. Obviously, they'll probably put up a graphic stuff like that, but do you think they do something of like, how this affects Roman or how this affects the Bloodline at all?
Possibly, and if ever Roman and Cody cross paths again, they have something that they can uh, be bonded by, if that makes sense. Because I mean,
True.
Sika and Dusty did wrestle each other at one point in time back in the day, and then to go to with Roman and Cody have been through, and then yeah, if everybody thinks Roman's coming back as a babyface, maybe Cody can be like, hey, I understand what you're going through. I've been there, maybe something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I can see it may get mentioned into the storyline and whatnot. We would just have to wait and see with that kind of stuff. Kayla Braxton is leaving WWE after 8 years.
Oh, sad. It's terrible.
Yes, I mean she was. I mean, Renee left. And we were just like, oh man, but we still had Kayla, and she was doing a great job. The bump and all the other the countdown, the pre-show, the kickoff, whatever we call it, all these great things, and now she's leaving.
Talk about somebody who was always on their job.
She
Like to say, if you know Bimbo Jimbo, reach out to him, check up on him.
yes,
I know he's probably hurting right now.
yes,
But
yes, yes,
but
yes,
yeah, Caleb Braxton, I think she's a really good talent, especially like in those COVID years with Paul Heyman and the Bloodline, and the little interaction they had, especially when Roman wasn't there.
yeah.
And like you said, she did like the post shows, pre-post shows. She showed good personality there. And she, like Renee, she kind of had that good balance of showing personality, but not too much to kind of get herself over in those interview segments. And you could kind of tell like the past month or two, she's kind of not been there all that much. So I was kind of wondering if something was going on. And now, comes out she's hanging him up at MSG on Friday.
I mean, what a way to go out! The world's most famous arena.
Yeah.
Uh, People were like, "Oh, she's going to AEW." She quickly shut that down. She she quickly said, I mean, I don't know what the exact tweet was, but she was, nah, it's not happening.
I'll never understand that when somebody leaves WWE, it's automatically, are they going to AEW? Like, they have a break or like time off before they decide to go somewhere else, figure out their career moves.
Yeah, no, she said she's not doing any more wrestling for at least for the time being. Or, I mean, she wants to explore other interests and other ventures. So yeah, that's good for her. Dijak's WWE contract expires tomorrow. This is news to me. You guys had to tell me. Dijak put on Twitter a letter saying that WWE didn't try to negotiate with them or plans fell through. He talked about how he's been in all these prominent spots and blah blah blah, and so he's ready to go. And then he tagged TNA, New Japan, Tony Khan, Tommy Dreamer, and AEW.
I
Yeah,
saw that when I first opened Twitter this morning, but I feel like they kind of dropped the ball on him because he did have some good NXT matches. I wouldn't say he had the greatest NXT matches outside of the match with Ilya, I believe. But I feel like he was a good asset because he got called up to the main roster and then it kind of just fell flat.
T-bar, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Donovan Dijak. Yeah, I think maybe like if he was like 4 inches shorter, he might have had a better career. Like as weird as that sounds, just because he's like such a big guy, and especially kind of in that Vince era of WWE, he wasn't going to be able to do the kinds of things he wants to do. And when he did get his chances in NXT, he definitely did shine. I mean, he had the match with Ely. He had like in the early NXT days some like Keith Lee stuff. I don't know if he had like Adam Cole matches, but he was like in those North American ladder matches. And uh, I agree. I think they dropped the ball with him. He could have been much more, and I'm excited to see what he can do outside of WWE. I think maybe running TNA. I think New Japan is desperately looking for some sort of talent, and I would love to see him go to New Japan. So the future's bright for Dijak, and wherever he goes, he'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Moving on from that, Rhea Ripley and Buddy Matthews, they tie the knot. They got married. Congratulations to them. Woohoo.
Very Adams Family-esque.
Yes. Yes. Brandon, do you have any thoughts on the wedding?
Another sad day for simps all over the world. Seeing this, including my brother. But yeah, Rhea's out. I mean, she didn't have like I don't think she's gonna have a sling on in her wedding gown, but they look beautiful. Hopefully, they come back sooner than later, and she can go back to her poppy, her dom dom, and see what's going on with that.
Solve all this mess.
Yes, solve all this stuff that's going on with Daddy Dom. Too Cold Scorpio stabbed a guy. Yeah, said it was in self-defense.
Yeah, that was a wild headline I saw.
Yeah, that was wild headlines to wake up to this week.
A lot. It's been something, man.
Just stabbed a guy in a parking lot or at a gas station.
Yeah, self-defense though. Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. See how that develops. Triple H was on the Pat McAfee show, discussing a number of deals, like in Indianapolis getting those 3 major shows. We'll talk about that when we get to Inside the Ring. But he talked about the Netflix deal and how once they get to Netflix they will be uncensored and things like that. Obviously mentioned Jacob Fatu and how he'll be a game changer and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was interesting. Have you guys seen the Triple H on the Pat McAfee show? We got some Wyatt Six stuff with it cutting out for a second.
Yeah, I saw the clips on Twitter, but I didn't watch the full show. Triple H is just out here being a businessman.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the move to Netflix is going to be a very big deal for WWE, and I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to get the Attitude Era again with cussing and puppies everywhere, but I think it does help give them that edge that
Yeah.
they already have kind of a little bit of an edge already because we're seeing more blood, we're seeing a little bit more of that, but I think once they go to Netflix and they go a little bit more because I will say one thing on both Raw and SmackDown, every time they bleep out like any sort of like chant that has a cuss word in it, it really pisses me off. It takes me out of the moment.
It does. I think this is the transitional period into that Netflix era, like Brandon said, because we are getting more blood and more cursing, but it's not going to be as intense as it is when they get to Netflix. I'm actually excited for the Netflix era because they'll have a little bit more leeway and they don't have to worry about like the network censoring stuff and catering to the kids. I wonder if, no, they probably wouldn't. If they're on Netflix, I don't think they're still going to cater to the kids. Definitely moving out of that PG era.
Yeah. It has moved a long way. I'm interested to see how the Netflix, like that first episode has to hit.
They got to come out swinging.
Yeah, like, and that's what the prep is. It's the long build of what we're in. What June, they take shape on Netflix January, so it's coming.
Is that the first week of January? Is their first Netflix show?
Either first or second, right? I mean,
Because I'm just trying to think because there is the college football playoffs going on in that time. That's usually that's very stiff competition, and I don't know
On
if
Netflix?
well, no, on ESPN, but that's a big thing, and they usually try to load up on those type of shows.
Well, load it up. Load it up. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
ready.
just saying January 2025. It's not given like an exact date.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited either way. Can't wait to see what happens. The long-awaited WWE WrestleMania doc from WrestleMania 40.
They heard me last week. I was complaining about it, and they're like, you know what? We forgot about that. We'll drop it next week.
I feel like maybe certain people had to make sure things were right before it went out there. But yes, it will be airing on WWE's YouTube channel July 3rd, day before Independence Day. So yes, don't celebrate America's birthday. Celebrate with the WrestleMania doc.
Celebrate the WrestleMania doc, and The Rock tries to twist it how he tries to save face, and how this was all planned and a great idea, and how he's the savior of this whole thing.
That's not what happened at all. That is not what happened.
It's not what happened at all, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to try to paint it as.
No, did you not watch the trailer?
Yeah, they made it seem like, oh, this is unprecedented. We've never seen anyone, cater to the fans like this before. There's never been a time where fans rejected something and we had to change the plans.
I mean,
thank you, Rock.
Even like with the Daniel Bryan stuff, it wasn't like to that effect. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, do you not remember that John Cena Randy Orton title ceremony?
No, yes, but still, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't to the effect of Cody. Like we can be real. We can say that it was big, but it wasn't like this big. It wasn't like that. Yeah, it was different. Today's the 13-year anniversary of CM Punk's pipe bomb. He sat down on a stage in Las Vegas and aired his grievances. 13 years removed. Marlee, how do we feel?
I feel like what he said still stands today. I feel like that was one of the most iconic promos. I remember where I was when he did it too. So that solidified CM Punk as my favorite wrestler. Like, he was always one of my favorites, but that pipe bomb really enforced it because he said what was on his mind. He said what was true, and it still, what he said holds up to this day.
Yeah. Thank you for saying what needed to be said, Brandon.
Exactly.
I mean, it was a monumental moment. If anyone could go out there and cut a shoot promo, they probably would get over. But CM Punk did it fantastically in 2011. Like I've said, it was kind of my return back to WWE. And I mean, if he didn't cut that promo, we didn't get the Summer of Punk. Who knows if I'm still a wrestling fan? Because I did kind of fall in love with CM Punk at that moment with that storyline. So similar to Marlee, like after that kind of turned me into a big CM Punk fan, because at that point, I mean, CM Punk was just a mid-card guy who was the leader of the new Nexus, and I really didn't know much about him.
Mid-card guy. I mean, he had a couple world title reigns at that point.
Well, at
Yeah,
that point, I wasn't watching at that point. That's what I'm saying.
Like the Jeff Hardy feud of 2009 leading into
Wasn't there.
SummerSlam. And then the
Terrible.
Straight Edge Society.
Wasn't there.
Terrible.
Man, the ECW run. Come on.
Wasn't there.
Come on.
Absolutely terrible. Yeah, I mean, for me too. I mean, I remember I was favoring TNA at the time. I think a lot of that was, I was 15. I was being influenced. Like I didn't really know what I was talking about. But no, man, I remember I was living in Pensacola. He cut that promo. He sat on that stage, and I was hooked. And he became truly one of my favorite wrestlers. I mean, he's in my top 10, and he's not number 10. He's very high. He's in the top 5, and he's not number 5.
I'd say he's just top 1 for me personally.
Yeah, so CM Punk's up there. I love good old Phil. All right, we're gonna switch it around because I know people want to hear it, so we're just gonna get to it. SmackDown happened. It is the long-awaited debut of Jacob Fatu, my Uso. Yeah, we got a lot of fan mail about, did I know and all, and how long have I known and all this BS. Let's talk about the debut first, and then I'll say some things. Yeah, so SmackDown happens. It's Cody versus Solo. They told the Tongans the Tongans are supposed to stay away. Randy and KO were supposed to stay away. Yeah. And then it quickly breaks down. The Tongans get out there. Randy and KO come out there to take care of them. Solo's backed into a corner. He's pleading, and then he just starts smiling. And then you hear this eruption. And then out of nowhere, there goes Savat takes one from KO. G's up. Clothesline, drop. Samoan drop on the steps to KO. Puts Randy through the barricade. Uranagi's spot on the apron. I wonder if I've seen that before. And then puts Cody through the table. Oh, man. What a debut. Let's talk about just the debut alone. Brandon.
I mean, it was a big moment. It was a little out of the ordinary. I could deal without the main event where we all know nothing's going to happen, where you have a main event and then you just get to the schmoz in a minute and a half. But the the debut itself of Jacob Fatu, I thought was fantastic. Similar to like the Jericho debut, putting it in Chicago where it's going to be a smart crowd, where they're going to know who he is, a big reaction, makes him a bigger star. Could have waited a week, maybe put it at MSG, make it even bigger, but I think there was an effort to put it in Chicago, knowing that crowd would probably be better than Corpus Christi or, you run of the mill town. So I thought it was fantastic.
Marlee.
I wasn't expecting it, which I feel like is good when it comes to these surprises, because I initially thought it was going to be Hikuleo, because when Backlash happened and we thought Jacob was going to show up and it ended up being Tonga Loa, I thought that Hikuleo was right behind him. But to see Jacob, that was the actual genuine surprise. And I really enjoyed it. I feel like they made him look strong in his debut. They didn't send him out there to like do a promo. It wasn't like backstage showing up and getting the pop. He actually went out there and did what he was supposed to do, did what we've always seen him do over the years. I'm honestly proud. I teared up a bit when I saw it. It was like watching a family member make it big.
Yeah. I mean, or Brandon, you got something?
I did like the look at the very end that the Tongans gave each other. I don't know
Yeah.
if it was we didn't know this guy was showing up. This guy's crazy. Like what that was supposed to mean. I assume it meant something because Tongaloa or Tomatonga shot a look to Tongaloa and it was like, I don't know what's going on here.
I think it was supposed to be played off like they're not even in the know of who's showing up. Yeah, I mean, people did think Hikuleo was coming because they filed the name for Talatonga. Yeah, I mean, so Friday, I'll kind of put you through what happened. I was driving home. Baby Huey texts me. You watch SmackDown. I go on Twitter and I see this, and it was like something out of a movie. I'm at a red light and a single tear's rolling down my face. My mom's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "My guy made it. My guy made it." Seriously, man, just I'm proud, man. Uh, all those late nights and early mornings paid off. All the times that
He even came to West Coast and trained with us for a bit, so I can say that I got a headlock takeover from Jake before he made it big.
right. Hey, when he gave KO that clothesline, I'm like, I've taken that clothesline,
Yes.
man. Just to see somebody that you've traveled up and down the roads with, been across the country with. I mean, he's been to my house around my family. I've been to his around his family. Just it warmed my heart to see my guy make it. He should have been there a long time ago, but timing's everything in this business. To see him be there. I mean, I've heard it from different people that they think he's the best in the family just because of the things that he can do. He's gotten in incredible shape. So it's going to be even crisper. It's going to be quicker. I mean, Brandon, we watched him for years on the independents out here. Then just I never imagined that I would get to not just train with him, but to call him a brother for real.
Yeah, I mean, even when I went to, see a certain person wrestle over at Oasis, Jacob was in the crowd and he was just wearing a t-shirt. He was just, being kind of loud and being his Jacob self. And I was like, huh, he looks pretty good. He looks pretty thin compared to what he used to look like, whatever, like 6-8 months ago, last time I saw him. So definitely could tell he was getting in shape for something.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
I was like, there was a day where I walked in just like, I think it was a regular Thursday. I walked in, Howard and Jake were there. I was like, whoa, it's just Thursday. What's going on here? And he just wanted to get his reps in the train. And I I had an inkling that's what it was for, but I didn't want to like read too much into it because I knew Jake, he's just always on that grind. But to know that's what it contributed to was pretty cool.
Absolutely, man. Just
He's only 32. I thought he was like in his mid 30s, but he's like in the prime of his career.
absolutely.
I also have one last thing. There was a time I was helping Oasis with music, and he like walked up to me and thanked me for all the help, and that kind of just it got me. It really
Yeah.
did get me.
No, Jake's a genuine cat, man. Just
He-
I'm
He's
just, I'm
real.
very proud of my guy, man. Alofa Atu Uso. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for all you did for me in the training and teaching me the ways, the stuff that you learned, going back to the things that, Rikishi and Gangrel and Black Pearl taught you and the teachings they learned from, Sika and Anafa and stuff like that. Like I said, how it trickles down. Man, just I love it. I'm about to start tearing up again. Damn, man. I teared up watching wrestling in a minute, man. Shoot. But it was good, man. It was real good. And when because like we've seen Jake wrestle, we know like what kind of guy he is out there. When he was doing that, all I could hear was yeah, hell yeah, man, fuck you, yeah. That's all I heard, man. I loved it. I loved everything about it, man. I'm so happy that he's finally there.
Former West Coast Pro champion out here.
Right. Hello. I'm waiting for him to do the hello on TV. Yeah. I know I got a lot of fan mail asking, like, did I know how long has this been going on? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to let you guys know right now. Just because people are in the public eye, you are not entitled to an answer. Okay. I didn't know he was showing up on Friday. Like, I found out when I went on Twitter. I did not know. I mean, I saw Jake, a few weeks ago. We trained, and then that was it. I hadn't seen him in a little bit. But yeah, I didn't know he was showing up. But I'm glad I didn't know. I like to be surprised. I like to just get these candid moments. So yeah, for all of you texting and emailing, stop asking me these questions. I'm not gonna answer anything.
I'm sorry.
Right. Oh man, yeah. Um, so we'll actually know it here. We'll get into the fan mail now. I just wanted to get that out the way so we can move on. All right, let's see. Let's see. Here we go. All right, in Brightest Day X, the Hall of Famer.
Mr. X.
Thoughts and prayers go out to the Anoa'i family. Sika was a legend who helped build one of the if not the greatest greatest family dynasties in all of professional wrestling. Will Liv go full single white female and try to become Rhea and take over the Judgment Day? We'll talk about that when we get to Raw. Would anyone be shocked if Shane O'Mac showed up at Forbidden Door, given all these rumors about him contacting AEW? I don't think that's happening.
Nah,
I don't think that's happening.
I can't see that happening.
Yeah. He also says, what do you think the reason is for WWE having the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam all in one city in Indianapolis next year? Also, when the hell is anyone going to bring a pay-per-view to Cincinnati? It's been too damn long.
Is it
We'll,
SummerSlam?
Because Indianapolis paid a shit ton of money.
yeah, no, we'll talk about that when we get to Inside the Ring. Let's go back to SmackDown and finish that up. So at the top of the hour, they're in Chicago. It's Punk country. Punk's out there talking about how he cost Drew McIntyre at Clash of the Castle. Talked about how Drew prayed for this, and then how CM Punk prayed, as in like he was like his prey. A little play on words there on Drew in Scotland and all that. Paul Heyman comes out there. They reunite. We've been waiting for it. And then he warns him like, hey, they're coming for you. And Heyman has Punk take me with you. Thought that was nice. And then Cody comes out there to save Punk with bats, and then Solo and Tamatanga and Tangaloa go away. What are your thoughts on the segment, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, Punk always being in Chicago, it's fun. The dynamic with Punk and Paul Heyman was good. We haven't seen that in quite a long time. Kind of overall with the Paul Heyman stuff, I feel like he's going a little bit over the top, like a little bit too dramatic and kind of, overacting a bit. I think because even like before the Solo match, when Solo said like, "Oh, Roman Reigns isn't coming back," like Paul was like almost in tears and gonna like cry. And it's a little much. It's a little much. I know what he's going for, but it's a little much, Paul. But yeah, and once again, the crazy evil Tongans run away
A little
because
much. That was his tribal chief,
I get it, but
the head of his table.
it's just I feel like it's an overreaction because like he's just believing what Solo says at face value. It's like, oh my God, what? Roman Reigns isn't gonna come back? What do you mean?
When you have spent that much time with someone and you have been to those heights, and for them to go away in this way, I mean, when Roman went away before, you knew he was coming back soon because he was the champ. He had to come back and make appearances. When you take a loss like that, we don't know when he's coming back. We don't. And then for Solo to tell him that, hey, he's not coming back, like what do you mean? Because Paul hasn't talked to him, so
Okay, the way
doesn't know
you
what's
said
going
it
on.
was not the way Paul Heyman said it. It's like, what? What are you talking about? He was
Well, I mean, that's the way. I mean, I can't. Paul Heyman is so good that I can't replicate that level of emotion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a Hall of Fame wise man. Come on now. But yeah, I mean, he's just so distraught, and I mean, we saw it when they like tried to kill Kevin Owens. They tried to run him over and like crash the car. We shouldn't be surprised that Paul's acting like this. Like
when Roman comes back, they need to address why Roman has not talked to Paul at all. Because I think they're going to come back and they're going to be together, and they need to like address something. Unless Paul has known everything the whole time, but that would, like you said, he's been way too overdramatic for that to make sense.
yeah,
Well, dang, forget my theory then. I still think that Paul and Roman, like, I feel like it's just whatever Paul Heyman is doing is all a ruse until Roman gets back. I feel like him and Roman are still in cahoots. Because when Roman comes back, we might get that Paul Heyman switch up.
no, I feel like we need a babyface run out of Paul Heyman. He's done such great work over these past few years. We need a babyface run. Let him be a babyface Hall of Fame wise man. Yes.
I
I feel like that doesn't work
I
though.
agree, but then it's like Solo currently as like the leader. I mean, yes, Rock probably will be a part of it, but he's not going to be there forever. I do wonder if you take out Paul Heyman from that bloodline, the new bloodline, how that would work. Unless you kind of put Jacob to the front and he's kind of the leader.
I'm glad you mentioned The Rock. Apparently, some news outlet said The Rock is going to be at the ceremony on Friday.
I have not seen such a thing.
Yeah,
Take
I
it with a
don't.
grain of salt.
Yeah, right. I was like, okay, well, sure, right. Yeah, and then you get to Drew McIntyre. The garage door opens and you see CM Punk lying there, bloody mouth, and Drew McIntyre returns after quitting. He was gone for a whole 4 or 5 days, 4 days, and then he attacks CM Punk. He carries Punk's body out to the stage and drops him in Chicago in front of everybody. Damn.
Yeah, Drew did the whole George Costanza bit. He quit, but then just showed up to work the next day, like nothing happened.
Not the next day. It was
Pretty much.
a few days.
I mean, if you don't count NXT, it's basically the next show. And he was at the next Raw, which is his next day of work.
But he was scheduled to be at SmackDown, so I mean it's and it's a different color, and I don't know where I'm going with that anyway.
It's even worse than when CM Punk quit in 2011. He just showed up like what 3 weeks later.
Okay, that's 3 weeks. At least that's
what I'm saying.
A longer period of time.
At least it was 3 weeks.
It's a longer period of time.
Not 4 days.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the Drew McIntyre and this whole just dumping a bloody Punk on the stage, Marlee? What are your thoughts?
This is the greatest SummerSlam build I've seen in a while because we are going to get that match at SummerSlam. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I do like this new era of Drew McIntyre. I feel like he's being taken seriously as a character because when he was on top, it was during the pandemic, and so he didn't really get to do anything because there were like no fans and not much happening. But I feel like he's really establishing himself as like, because I wouldn't say, well, I guess he'd be considered a heel, but I kind of see him like in between where he's just like an anti-hero. But this is good. This is good for his character. This is good for the feud. This is good for the storyline because it's just going to make SummerSlam, like the pop at SummerSlam for that match is just going to be No pun intended, but way too sweet.
Love it.
I thought the visual of the garage door getting pulled up with a bloody Punk and Drew was fantastic. I agree with Marlee. I was talking about it last week how maybe Drew is kind of in the right of this whole thing, but we're in Chicago. They're going to be on Punk's side. They're going to be against Drew. Maybe, like the regular WWE fan base isn't going to think that hard about it and just kind of cheer Punk because he's the bigger name. But, we'll have to wait and see what happens when both of them are when we're in like the heat of it in like late July. Because I would assume we're going to get to SummerSlam. Punk said at the press conference at Clash of Champions or Clash of Castle that he was going to give a health update, but then like he never did. So I
Well,
don't
he
know
got interrupted. So
yeah, so I don't know.
yeah.
There
Carmelo
was a
Hayes.
tweet. I was gonna say there was a tweet about how CM Punk is not really getting any repercussions for what he's been doing, like how he cost Drew the championship, how he, yeah, Clash of the Castle, like everything Punk has done, he's gotten no repercussions, but Drew is getting the brunt of it all.
Well, that was his repercussion. He got
Well,
one. He
one.
got one. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes qualifies for Money in the Bank. Yeah, it pins Randy Orton.
If the old distraction leverage roll up. So Carmelo didn't get an entrance, but he won the match, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Because I saw people complaining on Twitter. It was like, oh my God, Carmelo's getting the jobber entrance, and then he ends up winning the match.
Yeah, calm down.
One step closer to Mellow in the Bank, like I've been saying.
Ooh, I like that.
Mellow in the Bank. I mean, I love Jay, but they both qualified, and I just said if Mello qualified, I'm going full Mello in the Bank, whether Jay was there or not.
I need a melanin in the bank.
Well, you got to get there, and we'll have our melanin in the bank.
Oh, Andrade also qualifies for Money in the Bank, winning also a triple threat, and Chelsea Green also qualifies for Money in the Bank. So, I heard Chelsea Green say if she ever like cashed in successfully, she would bring back the Divas title. Just for the heat alone, I want her to do that.
Oh,
I think that would be hilarious.
I thought she was serious when she said it too, but if she is,
no, she
I'm
is
not
like
complaining.
She's been saying this for a long time. Like she's dead serious.
Oh hell yeah!
I love it.
Bring it back. Bring back the Divas era.
Right. Any inside the ring, Indianapolis is going to be hosting the Royal Rumble on February 1st of 2025, not in January. This is absolutely weird. I don't know why you would do this.
Yeah, that tripped me out.
Yeah, but they're also going to get a SummerSlam and WrestleMania. So what they'll get? What you think they'll get? WrestleMania 42?
I think they're probably gonna see how ticket sales go. I would assume Royal Rumble's gonna sell it pretty quick. Maybe they stagger it out because I think we haven't heard like the exact dates or the exact terms. So that wouldn't be shocked if it's like they get one every year. So like they get Royal Rumble this year, WrestleMania next year, or however that shakes out, and so forth.
Yeah. They announced SummerSlam 2026. Where's that at? Minnesota, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they made it clear that it's going to be a 2-night SummerSlam that Indy's getting, so it probably will be 25 or maybe 27. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Shayna Baszler has been announced for Bloodsport Brooklyn happening at the end of July. So continuing the WWE GCW partnership.
She said her dream opponent was Minoru Suzuki, so I'm waiting.
That
Man.
That's going to be something. That would be dope. That would be dope. All right, and Jazzy Yang, the daughter of Jimmy Wang Yang, made her MLW debut recently. Congratulations to her.
Oh yeah, I did see that on Instagram. That was pretty sick, and he was in the audience to watch her. And wasn't he in MLW before too?
Yeah, the original back in the early 2000s. So, yeah,
Full circle.
My boy Jimmy Wang Yang. I love Jimmy Wang Yang so much. To me, a chopstick is just a piece of wood. It was so good. Oh man. Oh Jesus. All right. Monday Night Raw. There was a box that was handed to Michael Cole. He opens it. I love Michael Cole. For you kids at home, this is a VHS.
I was like, kids, wait, I literally have a VCR DVD player sitting under the TV right now. What do you mean? What do you
Right,
mean, Michael Cole?
right. So I guess he found a VHS player in the arena because they played in its Uncle Howdy interviewing Bo Dallas, and this was interesting. This was interesting. Uncle Howdy asking Bo, "How did you feel when your brother died? Do you feel like you're exploiting his legacy?" And Bo was like, "What was I supposed to do? Just let him become a mausoleum?" I was like, "Oh, we're doing this. I like it." Brandon? What are your thoughts?
Week 2 of the White Six, I think it was a mixed bag. This was definitely a interesting, emotional promo from Bo. Um, it's week 2, so it's very hard to kind of read into what exactly they're going for because they kind of took a little step back. They didn't get full into the swing of things like they did last week by attacking everyone. But I mean, I said last week that this needs to be like the A topic because people died presumably last week and they didn't. And I do wonder like what the whole point of the Chad Gable thing was because you write them out, then you put them back in. So maybe they got like cold feet. Like, yeah, I just felt
I
like that was a
think it
little
was
weird.
Otis. I don't think it was the Wyatt Six. I think it was Otis.
Oh, just shot Gable in the head.
He was. Oh, I don't think he was shot in
It
the
had
head.
to be Otis.
He just got hit over the head with something real quick. That was all. He was unconscious for a little bit. He got up.
Just a little concussion.
Yeah, just a little small concussion. That's all. Marley, do you have any?
I think that, how can I put this? I'm excited for what they're doing with Uncle Howdy and Bo Dallas. Like the segment was beautifully done, but I feel like it's just not the same without Bray, of course. Like it's not going to hit the same, but I'm excited to see how they're going to tend to his legacy.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think Bray is forever the sixth member of this
Yeah,
thing.
you just got to see how it plays out because I think I mentioned it last episode where it's like they're presented well, but how is it going to translate going forward, like in ring in the segments? But it's just
Yes, yes.
what they're doing right now is pretty good.
We shall see. Drew McIntyre has a promo. Talked about what he did to Punk and everything. He says he's entering the Money in the Bank. So as soon as he's at the top of the ladder, about to unhook it, that's gonna hit. Call to personality. I love it. Or Punk may just run out there. We'll see.
Wait, did Drew really put himself in the?
Yes, he said he was
Or
entering.
or Drew wins it. This happens before the main event. Punk is like, "Oh, I got to catch a flight to
Because
Toronto real quick."
I
McIntyre cashes in, and then he screws him that way.
thought Adam Pierce was like you have to earn it because he just like was chewing into Drew about how he had to earn his way into the match.
I
I
think
just
Braun Breaker has just broken down Adam Pierce because he was very stern on Braun Breaker, and after he didn't adhere to his suspension, Adam Pierce was given up.
yeah. Speaking of Braun Breaker, him and Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship in Toronto. That's going to be something. That's going to be something. Yes. We'll get back to the Drew McIntyre of it all whenever we find out more. I just saw the thing where I just saw the clip where he said he was going in the Money in the Bank. I didn't see the Adam Pierce interaction. Dom helps Liv. Liv's out there talking to Zelina Vega. I guess Zelina has an opportunity at the Women's World Title, or she's going to
Why?
challenge. Or she tried.
What does Lena Vega do to get a title shot?
Or I don't know. Dom said something about her trying to get in that title picture. Whatever it was. Rey Mysterio comes out there doing the cat fight. Then Dom pushes Rey down, and it's a whole thing. Liv sent something to Dom's phone. This is just taking turns. This is just taking turns.
Nice to see that Liv Morgan's actually like interacting with the women's division and not just Judgment Day. But I mean, the talking segment between those two was not very good. And
No, it wasn't.
Liv Morgan's been she's been making the rounds on the internet for a certain video she put out on her Twitter.
She just
I
had to
will
clean. She
say,
just had to clean up her world title.
I will
That
Nothing
say,
crazy.
I've never been more excited for a meme to die out. I'm so ready for this meme to die out.
between this and the Kendrick of it all, like I'm kind of like the internet needs to find something else. The internet needs something else to talk about.
Well, just wait. We have a presidential debate happening tonight, so I bet the internet's gonna love
Oh
that.
Oh, jeez.
no, we do not. The Donald
The Donald of it
And
all.
the
That's
Joseph.
crazy.
number 45 and number 46.
Who's gonna repeat? Who's going for the two-time? Oh, don't say two-time.
Oh, God.
Oh man, I remember the last one. Would you shut up and just let me talk, man? Oh God. Oh, the comedy, that we're gonna get. All right. Seth Rollins debut Priest. With everything else going on, this seems like the fifth or sixth most important thing in WWE. Jesus, they have a promo segment. I guess if Priest wins, Seth can never challenge for the title while he's champion. And if Seth wins, then Priest has to leave the Judgment Day. Priest says, "I don't need Judgment Day; they need me." Blah blah blah. Gunther comes out there. He says, "May the best man win, because whoever wins, they won't be better than me." Yeah.
Interesting little side bet that they got. I
Yeah.
still believe Priest wins. Like I said, I think you can try to get the most out of a Priest Gunther match compared to a Seth Gunther match. And similar to Drew, Gunther continues to like be slotted as a heel, but he doesn't really do anything super heelish. Like, yeah, he's a little arrogant and thinks he's the best, but I mean,
He's
he go
foreign. That's all you need.
he is one of the best guys there. So I wonder what's gonna happen with Gunther if he gets a title and how like the fans treat him going forward.
Yeah, he's forward. That's what makes him a heel.
Yeah. I would want Damian to win because if Seth comes back just to take the title from Damian, I would not have taken Damian seriously as the champion throughout this entire reign.
No, he needs to beat Seth and beat him clean. He needs that one definitive clean win.
Yeah, and the story of the Judgment Day for him just to lose it to Seth to then just leave after all this just it doesn't really make sense. Like
No, it doesn't.
I mean I think Liv is probably gonna help him and he'll be on Liv's side and
What if he beats Gunther?
Oh, God.
the internet will riot.
Uh, uh,
Punishment Martinez beat Walter. What the hell's going on here?
uh, uh. Thank you, Chad Gable, to Money in the Bank. Braun Strowman needs to stop doing the running around bit. It's been time.
And as long as we don't get any train sounds, it's a positive.
Bro, like it looks like it's hurting him to run.
Mm-hmm.
But like, doesn't it look like it? It looks like it's hurting him to run.
Well, he doesn't like bend his knees. He like just runs like straight legged.
No, don't do it. It looks like it's hurting him.
And once again, like Vince had some dumb ideas, but the whole Braun thing is a little confusing.
Braun.
And two Brauns that run fast.
No. There's one Braun that's just steadily getting by. There's one Braun that's out here.
Well, Braun, he ran fast like 7 years ago when he was facing Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
But,
that's then. This is the Braun Breaker. That boy out here, he can outrun hyenas and cheetahs, man. Like for real.
Didn't they
That's
have like a speedometer on how fast he could run?
he
I
needs
did
to be the speed champion.
I did laugh when Miz was out there for the 1 hour. And God, I mean, Pat McAfee isn't. He's my guy, but he's not the best. Miz was just terrible, and he name dropped Tyreek Hill. I was like, "Oh, watch out, Tyreek Hill!" When Braun Breaker was running around like Miz, just stop. Tyreek Hill would absolutely dust Braun Breaker.
I want to see it. Run it. I want to see it. But yeah, what else happened? Gable to Money in the Bank. He wins. Defeats Bronson Reed. Braun Strowman was dealing with the Judgment Day. Sister Abigail comes from the ring, and yeah, it's just craziness.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about with the Gable thing. It was, I don't know, like you had something going with Otis and Gable, and then you just put him into this Wyatt stuff. and like the big moment of Otis turning on Gable was just that one shove. Like I do feel they're probably going to go back to and do something, but I think they did kind of lose that big moment. And I do like that Otis didn't just take Gable back right away. So and it does look like we're getting to some sort of six person with the Creeds and Ivy Nile, saying what's up to Gable. So the Otis Gable thing is not done, but I feel like they missed a big opportunity there.
Let's see. We have new tag champs. Miz and R-Truth are no longer the tag team champions. JD McDonough and Finn Balor are. Finn Balor, 3-time tag team champion of the world. Yeah.
And once again, Finn all alone in the locker room with Liv. Anything happened? I don't know. But
find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I'm out on Miz as a babyface. Like he just doesn't work for me.
You're done now.
I mean, I don't think I was ever in on Miz as a babyface, but
this was probably so. This is obviously better than when they tried it in 2013.
Yeah.
What's better, this one or when he was feuding with Shane back in like 2019?
I would say the Shane, because there was a split second there where Miz was a little bit over, and I think it was probably more just Shane was a decent heel and people just didn't like Shane.
You know what? You're right. The Shane one was better because we got his dad in the ring doing that. Oh, man.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with Brandon. Like, The Miz, personally, for me, has never worked as a babyface. He's always been a way better heel.
Nice guy. Like, I watch him on Miz and Mrs. He's a nice guy, but for the reason, just does not translate as a face on TV or in wrestling.
I need Miz to go back to being a dastardly heel. I don't know. I don't need that. Yeah. Miz. It's cool.
And honestly, the Awesome Truth reign kind of felt transitional. Like, I feel like they were definitely playing on the nostalgia of it all because outside of like 5 people, how many people actually remember Awesome Truth?
I was going to say, is there actually like a nostalgia run for Awesome Truth?
Yes.
For me, yes, because I do remember Awesome Truth, but I will say with this run, it took me a minute and I was like, oh yeah, they were a tag team.
I need R-Truth to turn on Miz and start smoking cigarettes again.
Bro, it's okay. Like, Tonga Loa's going to ride out there on a bicycle. You're going to get all the nostalgia from like 2011. Yes.
And Sin Cara comes back.
Which one?
All of them.
Damn. All right, AEW happened. Talk about that.
Yeah, we start off. We're in Buffalo, so MJF comes out, cuts a promo, and then Daniel Garcia comes out.
We ran out of time, ladies and gentlemen.
You just pretty much did what Daniel Garcia did to MJF. MJF didn't even get a word out before Daniel Garcia walked out, which for once.
MJF was about to challenge Garcia to a match at Wembley Stadium, and then Ospreay comes out and then challenges Garcia to a international title next week at Beach Break, and it's like I have seen like they've been doing some things with Garcia, like building him up on Collision, like Rampage and things like that, but I feel like they skipped like 5 chapters to get him all the way up to like Will Ospreay and MJF's level. It was a little weird. Like I get it, you're in Buffalo, he's gonna get a good reaction, but it just felt very forced to me. And like MJF, I mean, he's having that match with Hechicero. He just did like a weird throwaway line burying Hechicero, and then he's challenging Dana Garcia. I don't get it, but it does look like we're going to get MJF and Ospreay at Wembley.
I feel like the MJF Garcia feud makes more sense than a Garcia Ospreay feud. Like I would have rather seen MJF and Garcia at Wembley. But I just don't care for Will Ospreay, so anything involving him, I'm like, we can choose somebody else.
We still got the Owen Cup going on. Jay White beats Phoenix. Good match like you would expect. Jay White could have been something, but he's nothing right now. Speaking of the Owen, the Elite say that they're going to enter the wild card in, and then that person's going to face Jeff Jarrett next week. If you haven't, check out like the Jeff Jarrett sit down interview talking about Owen Hart. Very touching, very emotional. And I assume this means Hangman Page is coming back.
That's what I thought too. Because they said that he's coming back at Forbidden Door, but I think he's coming back to do the Owen Cup wild card because who else would it be? Out of the million people on that roster, Hangman Page is the only one that fits the bill.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, I think Swerve wins at Forbidden Door, and Danielson is like the only person currently that has a shot at winning this tournament. And I think if you put Hangman in there, Hangman, Swerve, Wembley, it makes all the sense in the world for that to be the main event or one of the main events. So I'm all for it. We had just a bunch of different hype and matches. We had even more matches added to a Forbidden Door, kind of a cluster. Like they did a good job at kind of hyping everything, but nothing really stood out. Like you had Ishii show up, you had Naito show up. Crowd wasn't like super hot or like super popping for these guys, which probably is a case of AEW not being so hot right now and New Japan not being so hot.
And not
We're getting to
everybody
get
watches New Japan.
yeah, we're getting Jericho and Minoru Suzuki singles match. It looks like at Forbidden Door, Tanahashi's going to team with the Acclaim to go up against the Elite. So we're going to get a Tanahashi Okada thing in 2024. I think that was it in terms of like added matches. And then main event, Osprey and Swerve team up to go against the Gates of Agony. And I thought this was it was a decent match, but I really did like the psychology of it, of the two babyface challengers not like turning on each other in the match because there's an Aaron kick and they work together at the end to get the win. And then Osprey steals Swerve's title. And a couple weeks ago, Swerve said, if you do that again, I'm going to put you on the ground. Osprey did it again. Chop block, house call. Swerve holds the title, going strong into Forbidden Door. So it was a simple hype, but I think it was very effective. But probably not good enough to get people to pay $50 for this match because I think for Forbidden Door, the casuals, it's all about this main event, and the sickos like me, who's going to buy it anyways, are looking forward to like the New Japan people. But the regular AEW people need to be invested into this main event. And, I don't know if they did enough to get people to want to watch this show, at least pay for the show.
Yeah. I feel like the sickos and the people who are like fully invested in New Japan are probably going to care about the whole show, but like you said, the main event is really only for the AEW loyals. And I just saw that Jeff Cobb got added to that trios match, so it's the Learning Tree and Jeff Cobb versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata.
So, I mean, Jeff Cobb was supposed to do some sort of like open challenge thing for Forbidden Door, but I guess that obviously got canceled. Brian Keith, I thought it was a worked injury, but maybe not. He legit did get hurt. But yeah, I mean, the Forbidden Door time is always kind of a down period for AEW because not a lot of people are going to know about these New Japan guys, and they don't really do a good job at hyping it and giving like the proper due it deserves. So
Yeah, I will say this is probably the most Forbidden Door that Forbidden Door has felt in a minute because this is a stacked card.
Where's Joe Hendry?
I don't know. That's
The
he
door-
goes to the
They
prohibited
don't
total.
believe
How do you not believe in Joe Hendry?
in AEW. They apparently don't believe in Joe Hendry.
Those bastards.
Or Jordan Grace because Taz was doing his Taz thing and went after Jordan
Yeah.
Grace.
And she's also doing another women's championship open challenge, I saw. So maybe another NXT person will go over to the prohibited portal.
Random side note, just want to get this out the way. Booker T's radio show is going national. The Hall of Fame podcast will be on ESPN Radio nationally, so congratulations to him. Back to your scheduled AEW content consumption talk.
Well, I mean, that was the end of Dynamite. I don't know if we're going to do a Forbidden. I don't think we really need to do a Forbidden Door
No, we
predictions.
don't.
I think the only thing is like the main event, like Osprey Swerve. It's a big match. I feel you have Swerve win, and you can, as I said, you do Swerve Hangman at Wembley, Osprey MJF at Wembley, and you can build up Osprey winning the title somewhere else down the line. I don't know where you guys feel on that. I think Swerve does win though, and hopefully it's clean. I don't need the Don Callis family to show up.
Unless you're like really invested in New Japan, there's no real reason to do a predictions outside of the main event. Maybe Mercedes Moné and Stephanie, Swerve and Osprey, Danielson and Takagi. But I feel like everybody's only invested in that main event.
Yeah, I mean, New Japan is not a hot product right now, and the Forbidden Door, the big names aren't New Japan names anymore. Osprey's with AEW, Okada's with AEW. Naito is the biggest name they have. He's a little bit past his prime, and even like the hype they did for the Moxley IWGP title match. Like Naito just kind of walks out. He does what Naito does, but if you don't know that's what he does, it's not very impressive. He
It's gonna
saunters
fall
out.
flat.
He just, crawls to the ring. He slowly takes off his stuff, and it's like, okay, dude, what the hell's going on? If you don't get it, it probably is not going to click with you. But yeah, I do think Naito, I don't know. I feel like Naito's going to win, but then you have the IWGP title changing hands in America off a non-American guy. I don't know what's going on with that. And I think AEW's going to win a lot of these matches. Anyway, stay tuned for my possibly drunk solo recap of Forbidden Door, Sunday night to Monday morning.
Sorry, I was just watching this clip. I forgot about. So, let's have a conversation real quick about these stories. I just saw Denise Salcedo and Righteous Reg. They had an argument about like stories in wrestling and how Denise was basically saying like, no, tell some stories. I hate you, you hate me, and Reg was like, that's not enough. And then she was like, well, they need to come up with something else. And then Reg went off on like, because of Vince. People expect stories to be told a certain way, and they won't accept it. Blah blah blah. What are you guys' take on that?
I feel like it depends on who's involved and what story they're trying to tell. Because yeah, you could tell stories, but are they good stories? How are the people involved in the stories telling it? So it's really just it depends.
It's the whole Vince Russo thing, bro. He was very good at having storylines for everyone up and down the card. 95% of them were shit.
I heard Vince Russo said "bro" 353 times on the dark side of the ring or whatever.
Yeah, they even did a contest. Somebody guessed, I guess before Who Killed WCW premiered, Viceland put out a contest like, guess how many times
Oh yeah,
Vince
that.
Russo's going to say bro. And somebody did it. Somebody got that.
That's crazy. Who do you think says "bro" more, Vince Russo or Matt Riddle?
Shit, probably me. Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, but what are your thoughts on the story debate, Brandon?
What's the main crux of the argument of stories?
So she was saying that like the matches are good, they're great, but what's the
In
story?
AEW?
Yeah, like why are
Oh,
these people
yeah.
having?
So that is the main thing. It's always like, oh, Tony Khan is a great matchmaker, not a great storyteller. And the Forbidden Door hype has always been this. But the last 2 years, the matches I felt like were stronger on paper because they had the Ospreys and the Okadas. Now they don't have that. I'm really looking to next week at Beach Break where we kind of get into the full swing of things of what it's July. So we're building to All In at the end of August. That's really like I get it. AEW's in a downturn right now. It's a fairly cold product. They really need to kind of turn it up for their biggest show of the year, and I'm hoping they can do that. But it's shown in the past that if they don't have like those big names to like just have a really good match, it doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
Because I mean, think of what are the best matches in AEW. Dustin Cody, MJF, CM Punk, even like Swerve and Hangman from last year. They had a good story going into it.
Yes, that story
I'd
was
even
really good.
argue Briscoe's FTR. I feel like that's more Ring of Honor, but
It's
they had a good. That's more
it's all the
memorable.
same.
Yeah.
It's all the same. Speaking of Ring of Honor, shout out Toa Leona, former six man tag champ over there. He came and trained with us on Monday. So shout out to brother.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Congratulations.
Yeah, he gave me some words of advice. Shout out to bruh, for real. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Marlee, do you want to talk about the speech cobbler?
Oh my God.
To
Where
quote,
was the cobbler?
yes,
Where the hell was the cobbler?
to quote Marlee's mom, where's the cobbler?
I told my mom that they had peach cobbler at the show, and she was like, "Bring me some," because she's a peach cobbler fanatic. She took one look, she opened it, and all I could hear from the kitchen was like, "Where's the cobbler?" They gave me half a crust.
But I didn't even have crust.
Oh, I didn't have crust either, so she got more crust than we got.
Look, I asked my grandma, hey, does cousin Donna still make peach cobbler? If I buy her some peaches, will she make me a peach cobbler? Like, Jesus, I mean,
What else did I say? Reby Jackson asked peach cobbler.
yes, old centipede. There was Oh, there a lot happened at
Man,
this show. That
that was.
wigs weren't wigging; they were wigging out.
I need him to run more than once a year just because
I
of how great it was.
yes, man, it
It
was great.
was it was a show, but it was the best type of train wreck you could have ever sat through.
It was. I mean, the location, the aura, the people partying next door.
Billy D.
Um,
Williams cameo.
I didn't secure my divorce. A lot happened. A
There
lot
was a lot
happened.
going on that day,
Yes, Brandon.
and I needed to happen again.
I wish you were there. It was, it was cinema. It was cinema at its finest.
I still want that lady to walk me to the ring when I debut. I'm not kidding. That grandma in the front row, she was on it.
Bro, there was one grandma damn near twerking on the side when that Glorilla started playing. I'm like, this is something.
And she did not drop her phone once.
I thought she was gonna drop a hip. I thought,
Was the thing thanging?
okay, nah, see,
Okay, all right.
uh,
All right.
that's
What,
somebody's
as
grandma, man.
as our friend Marks would say.
No, that's yo. So
That
look, Marks needs help.
Don't we all?
I don't know if I want to out this on a podcast like that, but that man needs he needs some help. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, don't ask about the things thanging. That was somebody's grandma, man. What's wrong with you?
Hey, grandmas need love too.
I mean,
All right, we know
all
what
the
Brandon's up to.
all the grandmas come out when they hear the wobble because I had never seen a woman move that fast in my life
I
for
ain't
one song.
I ain't never seen somebody that's receiving AARP move that fast in my life either.
They ain't here for a long time. They're here for a good time.
All right, with that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you later. The Dennis Richmond Invitational is this Saturday. Oasis Pro and West Coast Pro, we are coming together to create something truly special. Want y'all to pull up for real, man. Tickets are still available. DM me, bro. DM me. I got tickets. I got the tickets.
DM me too. Skip those Eventbrite fees.
Absolutely. Please skip the Eventbrite fees. So let's see what's going on with the Dennis Richmond Invitational. You have Loverboy Leo and Rancho Camacho running it back for their fourth match. You have the Crazy Cajun Jaya Jewel returning from Japan, literally a
day after.
A day after he's wrestling the mathematician, 3-time California state champion Alonzo Alvarez. You have Big Money Ishmael Vaughn going up against the Nasty Boy AJ Hernandez. The petite powerhouse Zara Zach are going up against the Big City Kitty, the Wild Sauce Hoss Jaguar Montoya. And of course, you have Miko Alana teaming with Beatrice Domino to take on Alice Blair and Maney, and so much more. Yeah, check it out, man. Gilman Brewery, Berkeley, California. We about to set it off for Dennis Richmond. The DRI is about to be popping, baby. You don't want to miss it. Thank you guys so much. As always, be safe and stay dangerous.
This has been the Bulletcast. Thank you for listening.